Good evening and welcome to each of you here to the Alachua County Public Schools School Board meeting for March 5th, 2024. At this time, if you would please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. You may be seated. Again, we're so excited. Ms. Rolo, you're there with our children tonight. We're going to let you take it off and introduce who we have here this evening.
Will do. Thank you so much. Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Andrew, and district administrators. It is always a pleasure for me to be here to highlight the wonderful things happening in the fine arts world, especially this month in honor of Arts in Our Schools Month. This month's artwork in the boardroom is brought to us by Littlewood Elementary School on boards 1 and 4, Foster Elementary School on boards 2 and 3, directly behind the board members, and Westwood Middle School behind me on boards 5 and 6. I would like to thank those art teachers, Amy Talbot, Antoinette Bratton, Melissa Montilla, and Joy Gatshall, and to the students for making this space come alive with color and creativity. For nearly 40 years, March has been officially designated by the National Association for Music Education, also known as NAFME, for the observance of Music in Our Schools Month. This time of year when music education becomes the focus of schools and communities across the nation. The purpose of Music in Our Schools Month is to raise awareness of the importance of music education for all children and to remind citizens that school is where all children should have access to music. Music in Our Schools Month is an opportunity for music teachers to bring their music programs to the attention of the school and the community and to display the value that school music brings to students of all ages. Music in Our Schools Month and the events surrounding it are the ideal opportunities for increasing awareness of the benefits of high-quality music education programs in our nation's schools. NAFME hopes that teachers, students, and music supporters alike will find ways to join the celebration through creative activities and advocacy. In celebration of Music in Our Schools Month, concerts will take place across the district at various elementary schools throughout the month. I've sent all of you dates and events and locations for those concerts, and I believe they will also be posted on our website and social media. Other music news to celebrate that occurred this month. This past weekend, some of our district concert bands participated in their district music performance assessment, and I'm happy to report that all of our ACPS bands that performed this weekend earned straight superior ratings. That deserves a round of applause, yes. The bands that performed this weekend were Fort Clark Middle School Symphonic Band, Buchholz High School Symphonic Band and Wind Symphony, Eastside High School Concert Band and Symphonic Band, Howard Bishop Middle School Symphonic Band, Kanapaha Middle School Wind Ensemble, and Santa Fe High School Symphonic Band. Congratulations to all of those directors and their students. The remainder of our school bands will perform for the second portion of MPA in April, so we'll have more results coming next month. Tonight's performance is brought to us by members of the Kanapaha Middle School Wind Ensemble under the direction of Michael Lafredo. In just his second year at Kanapaha Middle School, the band program has more than doubled in size to approximately 220 members. They have received straight superior ratings at District Concert MPA, and this year they had over 160 entries in Solo and Ensemble Festival with 145 superior ratings for their students. Congratulations. I'd like to thank Principal Miss Estes for being here with us this evening. Thank you for being here. And tonight, you will hear three of the ensembles that participated in Solo and Ensemble. Up first will be the Clarinet Choir, performing Chanson Triste by Tchaikovsky, arranged by Claire Johnson, a trumpet trio entitled Comrades, and a low brass trio, second movement Bonnie Lass of Old English Dances. Please welcome the Kanapaha Middle School Band.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Very good. Right. Very good. Very good.
That's it. We're good.
All right, let's give it up for our students again and the parents. Thank you all so much. And to our principal, you all did a great job. I remember when I was in school, I played the clarinet. I missed the clarinet. I used to play the clarinet. So thank you all so much. And my other colleagues may want to say something as well.
To the students, I didn't know Chairman McGraw played the clarinet, but the woodwind section, and nothing against the other members of the band, but that's one of my favorites because I too played the clarinet for 4 years. And so you all sounded fabulous. And I was trying to read the music as you were playing. But thank you so much for all of you, all of the students, for your performance tonight.
You all did a fantastic job. I also was in band in middle school, and I played tenor saxophone. So no saxophones here today, but they all did a fantastic job. Thank you, Mr. Loferto. Your hard work is evident. Your students' dedication and the support from their families is evident, too.
Let's give them a round of applause again. Thank you all so much.
We would like to do a picture before the students leave with the board members, please.
Oh, it's all right. Thank you all so much. Put it back. Thank you all. Take care. Giving them a moment to exit. All right. right, they're exiting. And now we have an ACA update. Ms. Ward and Dr. Testman are here.
Chair McGraw, board members, Superintendent Andrew, district staff, I'm Dr. Crystal Tessman, ACEA's Service Unit Director, Instructional Vice President, and proud union member. As you know, ACEA must reach 60% membership in both our ESP and instructional units to remain in existence and to maintain our collective bargaining agreements. Of course, if it was up to us, we would count our membership together as one unit because we do operate as one strong, united unit. But we must report our numbers separately, and we are proud to announce that our instructional membership percentage is a healthy 65%, and our ESP membership percentage is at a record high of 49% since a new state law stripped us of our right to payroll deduction. We only have 11% to go for ESPs. That is approximately 168 more members. If you are a bus driver or attendant, plumber, family liaison, VPK instructor, carpenter, mechanic, paraprofessional, office staff, custodian, nurse, health tech, or any other ESP, now is the time to join. We are honoring work sites that have reached a combined membership of 90% with a fancy poster and $100 to a random ACEA member at that work site. So far, all of Rawlings Elementary and PK Young Food Service have received this honor, to be followed soon by many more, I'm sure.
Good evening, Chair McGraw, board members, district staff. I'm Carmen Ward. I'm the president of ACEA, and I'm very happy to be here tonight and happy for this opportunity to talk about the State of the Union. The union did send out today professional development for all of our members for the month of March, and tomorrow is Wellness Wednesday. That is a Zoom, which brings me to another Zoom that I hope that especially our members, the staff and teachers in Newberry attend. We're going to have a Zoom with a public policy expert from the FEA. Myself will be on there and other panelists that are teachers to discuss the charter takeover that is happening out in Newberry. And so that is Thursday night at 7 p.m. and I did send out a Zoom registration link for people that would like to attend and talk about what is happening in Newberry, because it is my belief that employees are being conned into giving up their negotiated rights, their pay, their retirement, that it has employer contribution, and that is very concerning. I want people to understand what the reality of the situation is and make decisions that are in their best interests. I am very happy to be back on the trail to get our 1 mil referendum passed. And we saw tonight, I also was a clarinet player, by the way. So Chair McGraw and Dr. McNeely, we're in good company. We're all clarinet players. And we had amazing musicians come from Alachua County. And, you know, we had Tom Petty, Gainesville High School. We had Sister Hazel, which that's my generation. And we had Bo Diddley, who resided in Archer. We need to nurture our children to become whatever it is that they are destined to become. And we have to have art. We have to have music in our schools. And that is why I want people to remember that that's why we are going to be fighting and hopefully convincing people that everyone needs the 1 mil, and the 1 mil helps every single school in our district. And we are also back to bargaining, so we will be continuing to negotiate and work for better salaries, and hopefully we can get a lot of improvements to our rights this spring, and hopefully we'll bring it to a ratification vote and start the new year better than ever. So thank you for this time.
Thank you all. Thank you all so much for the update from ACA. Moving on to the adoption of our agenda, before I ask for a motion, we're pulling action item number 1, and we're adding a migrant education grant amendment, will be consent item number 10. And then also we will have, with action item number 7, the book challenge. Dr. Morale will have 15 minutes, and we'll get to that if she's here this afternoon. All right. Need a motion.
Yes, Chairman Jarrah, I noticed that there was no, I'd like to add board member announcements where we normally would have that at the top of the agenda. It's not on there, is it?
6, it's there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, remember, we just added to student reps, which they won't be here tonight anyway, but it's just inclusive. It's in number 6.
I missed
Or
it. I missed it, sorry. My
No
bad.
problem. Need a motion?
Motion to adopt the agenda as adjusted for the addition of the consent agenda item and removal of the action item.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and properly second by Dr. McNeely. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Now we need a motion about approval of school board minutes from February 20th, 2024. Need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Rockwell. Is there a second? By Dr. Ms. Surden has seconded. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now we move on to board member. Our student reps will not be here with us this evening. Please continue to keep one of our student reps, just keep his family in prayer. Will not be here, and the other one not be here, neither one, but let's just keep them in however you pray or whatever, let's keep them in our prayers, okay? All right, moving on. If there are any board member, I think I saw Dr. McNeely.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've had a good 2 days, great 2 days. Yesterday at Williams Elementary with kindergarten students in Miss Coleman's class, some of the smartest kindergartners that I've seen recently. So polite, so welcoming, and the book they said they enjoyed. But more importantly, before I left, they wanted to do their excerpts from being wax museums or wax profiles from Black history. So when you have 18 students and everybody's hand is going up, I had to listen to 18 of them, and they were extraordinary. So I don't know if any of them might be watching us tonight, but Miss Coleman's kindergartners, you all were fantastic. Today now, I had a rare experience. I was out at the Alachua County Youth Fair and Livestock show performance, and I was with Jarrett Bailey, who is a senior at Santa Fe High School, who was auctioning his pig, Louise. And I wanted to know, since he'd had this pig since October, what happens after you sell the pig? Duh, it's slaughtered. And so we got into a huge discussion about that. I couldn't believe he had raised this animal all those months and knew that after today, after it was purchased, what was going to take place. So Jared, congratulations to you. And then one final student, also from Santa Fe High, Caden Parker, who has been selected to represent Alachua County and the state in Washington, D.C. for his work and his ability. He's going to be representing the NREC Youth Leadership Council. Congratulations, Caden. You're doing great things here in Alachua County, but now you're headed to journey to Washington, D.C. Keep it up. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. McNeely. Dr. Rockwell.
A lot of great things have happened since the last board meeting that I want to give my praise for. First, I went to fantastic Black History Month performances at Idlewild Elementary and Stephen Foster Elementary, and also enjoyed the wax museums in every single classroom where the children dressed up as and did presentations on figures from Black history. It was a wonderful morning, and the amount of effort that the teachers and students put in, and everyone in the school, all of the support staff, all of the special teachers helped, so that was fantastic. I also attended the Education Foundation Gala, where many students from Alachua County performed, and their performances were fantastic. So again, huge congratulations to those students on their hard work, and a huge thank you to the citizens of this community for supporting the One Mill, which funds arts in our schools. I also attended the Youth and Livestock Fair, but not yesterday. I was there on Saturday, and I was one of their celebrity handlers. And this year we handled pigs, but not real pigs. We herded balloon pigs with fly swatters, and that was great fun. I'm sad to say that I did not place in the top 3, but congratulations to Commissioner Cornell, who won at fly swatter herding of balloon pigs. That was great fun. I also want to congratulate some of our students. We have 34 National Merit finalists in Alachua County Public Schools, and that is spectacular. Their academic achievement is phenomenal. They are competing with students all across the nation on the PSAT for that honor, and not a lot of students get that. Having 34 is fantastic. I also want to congratulate a 10th grade student, Abhith Kasala, and I hope I pronounced his name correctly. He is going to the International Engineering and Science Fair, and he and 20 additional students are going to the Florida State Science and Engineering Fair. So congratulations to all of them. And of course, a huge congratulations to the Lady Hornets basketball team out of Hawthorne. They just won their 2nd state championship in a row. Go Hornets. And finally, I want to thank Mr. Andrew and Miss Jackie Johnson, who's at an ACCPTA meeting, so she's not here, for the incredible effort that has been put into developing a website with frequently asked questions and information about the charter conversion. And Ms. Johnson has been working all hours, all weekend, in the evenings, correcting misinformation online, and we owe her a lot of gratitude for going above and beyond. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you, Dr. Rockwell. Ms. Servin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to share, saw my colleagues at Foster at their Black History program, and per the request of their media specialist, I was Bessie Coleman. So that was exciting, and the kids said, oh, you did the same assignment that we did. And I'd also like to share with you guys, and I'm going to download a couple slide decks to share with you all of some information that I was, as president of the Florida School Boards Association in Dallas about a week ago at the COSBA annual conference, the Consortium of State School Board Associations. The COSBA's membership is now up to 25 states, and there are, I think, about 4 or 5 that are not members of any state, but COSBA is now has the most states memberships of any national association. And as part of that, I was the delegate for Florida that voted on the federal platform, and COSBA continues to advocate for increase for federal policies as they relate to schools. Education is a state's right initiative, but schools do receive federal funding, and part of their platform was advocating for increased funding for education by way of all the title grants, food and nutrition services, and things through the USDA, as well as to increase the funding for ESE. There was one platform item that the Florida delegation, through our state association, did not want to support, and that was COSBA put forth a platform item whereby we would ask our federal delegation or federal government not to support funding to vouchers, for school vouchers and for charter schools. And for some states, that works okay, but because of the way Florida's education finance program is set up and charters are funded through FEFP, that would negatively impact our school districts here in Florida. So we voted no on that particular item, but we stated why. There were several, the Urban Boards Alliance was the first day of the conference, and the kickoff speaker was Sean Hopper, and I'm hoping that he shares the slide deck. He did not release it as part of the app, but it was the big lie about equity efforts in American schools, and he gave 15 steps that boards could take to refute that and things that we could do to support all of our students, but more specifically, equity efforts that address issues, long-standing issues of marginalized students, students that have disabilities, as well as some of the culture war things that are going on now. And the slide decks that I would like to share with my colleagues, with you all, I pretty much chose a track on governance and getting things done and how we can kind of speed up the progress in our district. And so I'll share those slide decks. There are about three of the decks. I'll give them to Ms. Green for her to share with everyone. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Surden. All right, moving on to the chair's report. Want to share with our community, Lincoln Middle School had a wonderful response to their Reading Success Awards ceremony. 60 students and their families attended the event with over 200 guests. Students and families were treated to a spaghetti dinner and drinks before the ceremony with courtesy of the Alachua County School Board Food Services Department. Students were chosen for this award for increasing their eye-ready diagnostic from the first administration to the second administration. And students were awarded a certificate and could choose 2 books to take home. And so the plan is now to make that a yearly event. I thought that was great to share. Alachua County Public Schools, the robotics teams are going to represent us in Dallas, Texas. Middle school teamwork, second place. They had a second place award for the Greenhouse Lincoln. Teamwork second place award. Westwood, the Skills Invite, they call the underdogs at Lincoln. And the Skills Invite Hector at Howard Bishop, and the Skills Invite Scorpio Bots at Westwood. This was half of the spots for the division. And the middle school VRC, the tournament champions, the FRE Shy Vodka do Westwood. It was from Westwood again, and the elementary teamwork Robo Tigers Glen Springs, and second place, teamwork second place award was Tiger Glen Springs. And then CTE, they were the ones who were gracious to help with the transportation. Also, and again, I know you mentioned about Hawthorne Hornets. I was looking state champs again, and Dr. Rockwell mentioned that as well. So we're so proud of Hawthorne and Coach Ingram, because he is just really taking them to another, because believe it or not, athletics teaches you about life, teaches you about teamwork and how to overcome. So we're just so proud of all that he continues to do out there at Hawthorne. Also, the Gainesville High School hospitality competition team of Emily Yannick and Sam Myers at the 20th Annual Florida Restaurant and Lodging Hospitality and Tourism Management Competition. They were the underdogs this year with a team of 2. Most competition teams had 4 people. The competition is made up of 3 categories, and they place top 3 overall in 2 in those categories. Being a small team got the best of them in the hospitality project event, but they placed second in the Knowledge Bowl, losing to the undefeated 2023 champs, Stoneman Douglas, the Stoneman Douglas team. They also placed third in hotel operations. And after 15 years as a DECA advisor at Gainesville High School, our chapter finally won at Florida DECA Career Development Conference. So let's please congratulate Felix Evans and Anaya Mills, who placed second in sports and entertainment team division, making event, securing a seat at DECA's International Career Development Conference in Anaheim, California in April. So let's give them a hand. That is great. They will be going to California. And the other thing, today as the chair, I was invited to the City of Alachua Chamber to speak and give an update on all of the great things that are happening in Alachua County Public Schools. It was well attended. There were between about 90 and 100 people there, and it was well received. And also I too put a plug in for one meal. You know, I cheered and everything. One meal is going to be on our ballot, which helps our student with, you know, our media specialists, arts, you know, music, CTE. And so we know the one meal. And so we were so grateful. They all understood, gave out handouts about the charter situation in Newberry, gave out handouts about their enrollment, which, because we had a city of Alachua joint meeting with them. We did. And we shared the enrollment data. So they were pleased to get those things. And I shared also the behavior handout. They were excited. I had a couple of people come up afterwards, so thankful for the calm rooms that we had now implemented. And we also will be implementing VPK classroom at Irby. And so there's some great things happening. They were really excited to hear that Alachua Elementary had moved, you know, as far as the achievement from a D to a C. So great turnout, and was great to share. And I've also shared that information with you all as well. Thank you, and that concludes my report. Now we're moving on to citizens' input. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Andrew.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Forgive me for moving on.
Thank you for the opportunity. I would like to, just on behalf of the School Board of Alachua County Public Schools, and Rawlins Elementary School, extend our sincerest condolences to Miss Deidre Scott's family. Miss Scott passed away recently. She was a media aide there at Rawlins Elementary School, and we just wanted to let her family, her school community, and everyone know that we're thinking about them. So please keep them in mind as we move forward. I also want to give a quick update on our Newberry Schools conversion charter process. I think the school board is aware of this, but a document has been sent to parents and teachers who are eligible to vote in each of the schools. The information addresses the definition of a charter school, the description of the charter school conversion process, the dates and conditions under which the balloting process will be implemented, voter eligibility, the date and location of where ballots will be counted, contact information for additional questions, and a sample ballot. These documents are also available on our district's website. We have scheduled the vote to begin on Friday, April 5th and continue on Monday, April 8th through Friday, April 12th. The counting of the ballots will take place at the Newberry Municipal Building on Wednesday, April 17th, beginning at 8:30 a.m. We are so appreciative of the collaboration and assistance provided to us by Alachua County Supervisor of Elections, Ms. Kim Barton. She has graciously offered us the use of 6 portable secured ballot boxes for the voting process and will assist us with personnel from her office to work the polling stations. Now, I'm going to echo some of what you all said, but I need to echo it as far as attending the Alachua County Youth Fair and Livestock Show. I did last Friday evening. I had that wonderful opportunity, and I just wanted to say congratulations to all of our students that showed poultry, rabbits, goats, swine, and cattle. This past weekend at the fair, I saw many of my former students with their kids there showing the livestock, and my comment to them was, boy, you sure do look old, because the last time I saw them, they were teenagers, most of them. So that was fun. On Saturday night, I got to see a lot of old students as well. I was down in Lakeland, definitely there. Was fortunate enough to witness the Hawthorne Lady Hornets winning their back-to-back state championships, as mentioned, but I don't think you ever mentioned that enough. Again, congratulations to Coach Cornelius Ingram, to all of the parents, the students, the players there at Hawthorne High School, the principal, everyone in that community. Congratulations on their girls basketball team putting up another one. And then last week, we all attended some wonderful Black History events. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Gainesville High School. Mr. Sheldon and I were able to stop by there and not participate in, but enjoy the Black Student Union show that they put on. We weren't dancing or anything. I'm surprised they didn't get Mr. Sheldon up there. I've seen a few pictures of him on that stage doing his thing, I think, in the past, right? Maybe it's some purple suit or something. But nonetheless, I do want to sincerely thank Judge Michonne Rawls. She came out. She shared her life, her journey, and just her resiliency with our students that were there in attendance that evening. So I'd just like to give her a special thank you for coming out and spending time with our kids as well. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And Dr. McNeely and I were in there too, dancing in the middle of the children. We forgot all about it. We go so much, but also at Gainesville High School, interacting with the children as well. All right, moving on to citizen input. You have 3 minutes with the board, and I have one, Mr. Armando Gomez.
Is it working?
Is it on?
I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Okay. Madam Chair, the first thing I wanted to talk about was something not on the agenda, was a couple of things. Attended 2 of the last hearings when it came to the charter conversion out in Newberry, which the first one I went out with to be very objective and get information. The first one out in Newberry was held about 2 weeks ago, very informative and very interesting to get information. It's always good to go information. It's easy to say no to things when you have or half-baked information, or you have information with a bias lens on, and it's also important just to go out and get information. And then from that, it's also when you take the information and then look at it, extrapolate it and look at it. That's another thing. Also attended the one out in Archer, which was also interesting. Again, always important to get information, not just go out there and put yourself out there with opinions, but make sure you have the whole pie and not a slice. That would, what I want to do is transform from there, from Newberry, going out to back here within our own confines. And I wanted to bring to the attention of the board, an elected official brought to the attention of a lot of us, and it was after a library governing board meeting, and after also a county commission meeting. A county commissioner said they visited our esteemed Lincoln Middle School, and they said that they appeared that when they went and toured it, it was like going and looking at Little Haiti. I've heard reports and gotten reports back that that's not something you want to hear from a county elected official ever. And I think it's disconcerting. And I want to bring it to your attention. Wanted to bring it to the attention of leadership. Sometimes hard, you can call and try to get appointments, but then you can't necessarily get that feedback to let them know what they're hearing with concerns. When teachers are saying they have possibly dead rodents in the ceiling, that's health concern issues. So Madam Chair, I want to bring it to your attention since I can't seem to get it anywhere else. So I'll bring it to your attention, and if it goes nowhere, then we'll have to handle it a different way. But I think it is concerning if we have our children are dealing with that health code violation. That should be concerning to everyone, not regardless if it's in your district or not. But if it's in your district, it should be even more concerning to you, because it's not just me, and if you don't have to take my word for it, but I think Mary Helen Wheeler is a very reputable person. And I think Commissioner Cornell is a very reputable person, and some others are very reputable people. And I don't think any of our schools should be looking like Little Haiti. And certainly when we go to Lake Forest, because we were all talking about during your workshop last week, what's affecting children's learning? Well, if they're in that kind of environment, it's affecting them learning. And we can't have some folks coming up here and saying how wonderful it is for our employees and wonderful it is that when they're in that kind of environment. If that's education excellence to you, then I hate to see what education disappointment is to you. So if that's what we're giving our best, whether it's from anybody, that's disconcerting, Madam Chair, and I want to bring that to your attention. And I think it's very legitimate, and I am highly concerned.
Moving on to the consent agenda. Are you ready, Mr. Andrew?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The superintendent recommends that the school board approve the consent agenda as described in items 2 through 10.
All right. You all have heard from our superintendent. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Reckwell. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Surton. Are there any questions, any discussion?
I saw
Yes, Ms. Surton.
the two calendars. I didn't have the DJJ calendar. Is this the first round for that calendar, the DJJ one, or was it on the last agenda?
This is the first.
Okay. I saw the notation for why the regular school calendar was changed, but okay. All right. Don't have anything to compare it with, so I'm not sure. So.
Yes, this is the first one for the 2024-2025 school year for DJJ.
Okay. Did that answer your question? All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. We have pulled action item number 1. So now, Mr. Burkett, base school staffing plan.
Thank you, Madam Chair, school board members, and Mr. Andrew. Tonight, we're bringing forward the 24-25 base staffing allocation manual. This is brought to you every year for approval. The only changes in this year's manual is moving the guidance and media that we, the last couple of years, have coded 100% to the 1 mil funds, moving half of that back to operational funds to free up capacity for much-needed technology that going forward we need to restore the technology purchases from the 1 mil. So with that, the superintendent recommends that the school board approves the 24-25 staffing allocation as presented.
All right, thank you, Mr. Burkett. The recommendation he has made, the superintendent recommends the school board approve the 2024-2025 base staffing allocations as presented. Is there a motion? Dr. McNeely moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by, seconded by Ms. Surton. Is there any discussion? Ms. Surton.
Thank you. I spoke with Mr. Burkett earlier today and asked him, I was wondering about the additional positions that we added from ESSER, like the behavior deans and things of that nature, because I didn't see any update in the matrix for that. And I was wondering how we were going to move forward with those positions. I'm not sure if anyone is able to comment with that. He told me how they were going to try to accommodate them in the budget, but they're not in the staffing manual, so I was wondering about how we're moving along with that. So I'm not sure.
Staff.
Well, staff,
Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Burkett.
well, as we spoke today, we're of course at the beginning of the budget process, so that is going to be, of course, part of the budget process. There are many things outside this, we call this a base allocation. It's based on student enrollments. There are positions that are outside this staffing manual, such as the ESSER positions and special, when we add, the board is aware, of course, when we do the budget, when we add additional support for the SI schools, that is not specifically stated in the manual, but we do place additional staff in addition to what's in the manual.
How is that notated, so I'll know how to be able to find it in the future? When it comes forward, how will that be? How will the board be notified of that? Of those additional supports that you just spoke of, and like the additional people that
During the budget process, yes, ma'am.
So there'll be like
Yes, we'll provide a list with the any positions that are outside the realm of the allocation manual. Yes, ma'am.
and then the board will see that in the budget document.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Ms. Rowe, the revisions to the 24-25 school calendar.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Andrew. This is a revision to the 2024-2025 school calendar that was approved by the board on February 20th. UF's homecoming was changed to October 18th, 2024. The end of the first quarter was changed to October 14th, and the student holiday teacher workday was changed to October the 21st. The superintendent recommends the board approve the revised 2024-2025 school calendar as presented.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. They moving on. Okay, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on, Ms. Rowe, DJJ 2425.
Yes, Madam Chair, now we have before the board the DJJ calendar for the 2024-2025 school year. The superintendent recommends the school board approve the DJJ school calendar for the 2024-2025 school year as presented.
You've heard the recommendation.
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Rockwell. Second by Ms. Surton. Is there any discussion?
And I want to apologize. I thought this was on consent. It looked like my consent agenda.
Oh.
I was flipping the pages over, so my
No
apologies.
action.
for
That's
questioning
okay.
that on consent.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. All right, number 5, Ms. Eunice.
Thank you. Thank you, Board Chair, Board Members, Superintendent Andrew. The superintendent recommends the school board approve additive change order number 9 for the Westwood School redesign and redevelopment project in the amount of $525,519.63, revising the contract total to $26,518,548.47. This change order adds 0 days to the contract time. The substantial completion date remains unchanged of July 3rd, 2024.
Speak up, Ms. Marie.
Speak up. Okay, I'll be closer to the microphone.
All right. This is about a change order, so our public can hear number 9. For
Change order
project.
for Westwood Middle School redesign and redevelopment.
Okay. All right, we have heard the motion. Is there, I need a motion.
Staff recommendation.
Okay, Ms. Surton, is there a second?
Second.
Been seconded by Dr. Rockwell. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to the educational plant spot survey for Littlewood Elementary, Ode to Williger Elementary, and the Manning Administrative Annex.
Thank you. The superintendent recommends that the school board approve this spot survey number 5, version 3, for resubmittal to, to FDOE for the review and approval of the educational spot survey for Littlewood Elementary, Old to Williger Elementary, and Manning Administrative Annex.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Rockwell. Is there a second?
Second.
Been seconded by Ms. Surton. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Now we're moving on to our number 7, the final order on the book challenge case. Ms. Siegel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have before the board tonight a final order on a book challenge, case number G2023-10-BC. This is the book, It Feels Good to Be Yourself. The attached order was attached to the agenda, and the superintendent recommends that the school board enter a final order adopting the hearing officer's recommendation to keep the book on the shelf.
All right, we've heard it. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. You got that, Ms. Green? It went fast, okay. We do have one citizen input, Mr. Gomez. You're good, okay. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Ms. Morale here?
Oh, you know what, they had there's some citizens.
You have, okay, I didn't have a form from you. Okay, you have, just come to the mic, you'll have 3 minutes. We usually have a form, I didn't get a form, but that's okay. Come on to the mic, and you have 3 minutes.
I'm Jan Gordon. I'm a mother of 11, and I homeschooled all of them. They all went to high school public. I still have one in public high school, Santa Fe. As far as this book is concerned, I'm not sure if I were building a family home library, if any of you would think of putting this kind of book on your family library. I would be interested in that, like if you had your grandchildren come over, if your kids came home and, had all these different kinds of book regarding this interspersed, I think it would be a little disconcerting. But anyway, I know children are very impressionable. You speak about something and they start thinking that that's normal or natural. And I know in 5th grade I wrote a paper they said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my sister had said that she wanted to be a pharmacist, so I wrote a book or a paper that I wanted to be a pharmacist. I had no idea what it was, but I was impressionable, and I thought that was a good thing to be. But as parents, we're responsible for caring for our children's bodies, their minds, and their souls. From the beginning, parents are life givers. They know what's best for their children. We tell them that sex was made for 2 adults, male and female, for pleasure, procreation, before adulthood. Children are to be exploring the created world, animals, water cycle, rocks, trees, languages, cultures, music, sports. There's so many things to study and to figure out. The topics can keep them busy until they're at an age that they can understand what's going on. Oswald Chambers says, a child has no dates. It's free, silent, dateless. A child's life ought to be a child's life, full of simplicity. At a young age, children are potty trained. They're using the body parts that God gave them. They know what they are. There's 2. They're taught that their bodies are to be protected and are to be kept private. And I hope that would be true for all of us, that we would want that for our children. One day they may marry. But until then, their bodies should not be perverted in any way. They're taught that. Children naturally explore and realize that their sister brother looks different than themselves. They wonder what it's like to be the opposite sex. A girl puts on a cowboy outfit, and a boy puts on a dress, and we say how silly that looks. It doesn't even look natural, because it doesn't. You're not to be something that you're not to be. We adults should say, and I did say, I remember that happening. We've given much liberty to schools to make some decisions, and the media specialists. Our Florida government has stated that topics of sexual behavior and gender identity are not to be a part of our children's education under 9th grade.
Thank you.
And it says that gender identity is related to
Thank you so much. That's your 3 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. Now we are at citizens input. If anyone else wants to come and speak at this time. Yes, come forth. You have 3 minutes with the board. Just state your name.
My name is Sadie Matusi. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Sadie Matusi. I'm a community member of Alachua County and an environmental science teacher at Gainesville High School. I did not realize that tonight the final order on this book would be held, but I'm glad that it happened tonight because I have a very great rebuttal. I'm here today to call attention to the severity of the issue that is banning books in Alachua County. On Friday, March 1st, yet another book, The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur, was removed from library shelves at Gainesville High School for the review process. On this same day, I learned that there has been a total of 25 books challenged by 6 individual members of the Alachua County community, including State Senator Keith Perry. 15 of these books have been challenged by a single individual, Dr. Crystal Murrell, a faculty member of the University of Florida. Of the 15 books Dr. Murrell has challenged, 6 have been permanently taken away from ACPS students. The majority of books challenged by Dr. Murrell have included topics of gender identity and sexuality. It is abundantly clear that Dr. Murrell is carrying out her own personal agenda on the thousands of Alachua County students, and you, the board, allow our students' freedom to be taken away. This process sends a message to students that not only some members of our society are acceptable, this is harmful to our students' well-being. Freedom of education is a fundamental human right that is being stripped away from them. I have heard the same excuse repeatedly. Your hands are tied. You must abide by state policy. There is nothing you can do. You've been elected by members of our community to represent your constituents. The least you could do is speak out. The least you could do is question the state. Instead, you do nothing as 6 individuals out of the approximately 279,000 citizens of Alachua County decide what they think our students have the capacity to comprehend. You are enabling 6 individuals to push their beliefs on others. When will you stand up for our students' educational freedoms? When will you stand up to the state of Florida? Will you sit here and be on the wrong side of history? It causes me to call into question, what is the purpose of your board? If you are going to be the puppet of the state or singular people in your community, why would you be able to hold an elected position and collect a salary? Board, I call on you to stand up for what is right regardless of the consequences. I call on you to do right by our students and your constituents. I demand you end this process. Protect our students from hateful bias. Keep books in our libraries so students have the freedom to learn. Don't let individual radical extremists strip freedoms from others. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, citizen input I don't have a forum for?
Good evening. My name's Kathy Benton. I've raised 5 kids in this community, and I'm really glad that they didn't have to go through this period of time where inappropriate material was so prevalent in the libraries at schools and in the classrooms. The agenda that's being promoted by these books is very inappropriate for young children. Young children need to be learning how to read and write and do math and, science and things like that. They don't need to be bothering with this kind of adult material at their ages. I really appreciate Dr. Morrill for sticking her neck out for just that children could have an innocent childhood and not have inappropriate material around them when they're in school. High school, maybe, but younger than that, these kids just need the freedom to be kids and not have to deal with adult subjects. It just seems like the people that are pushing this in the schools it's almost like a cult or a religion. And some of us have strong religious beliefs, but I'll be really surprised to walk into any public school and see a lot of books or any books about, that promote Christianity, for example, or but to promote this cultish view of sexuality, and it's really become like a social contagion. Kids are so susceptible to their peers and what people are talking about around them, and they respect their teachers, and if their teachers are encouraging this stuff, it's just not appropriate for kids. And I really think Dr. Morrill deserves a lot of credit for speaking up for the innocence of our community's children. And I hope that the school board will protect the kids from inappropriate material, not promote it. Thank you.
Anyone else for citizen input?
I would like to have my 10 minutes.
We've already passed that, Ms. Morrell.
I believe we're at public comment, which means it's my turn for my 10 minutes.
It was at that item. We've already passed that item. And
I would like my 10 minutes to offer my evidence to the board.
Let the attorney respond.
Sure, Madam Chair, that is correct. The board got to the item on the agenda about the book challenge, took public comment, voted on the issue, has now moved on to the next item on the agenda. We're at the citizen input portion of the meeting, and certainly Dr. Morrell would be able to take 3 minutes to address the board.
I believe the vote was taken without public comment.
No,
that's not correct.
That's not correct. We passed that item, Ms. Morrell. I mentioned in the beginning, but you were not here. Well, yeah, because nobody had any at that time. Well, we did. But she's welcome to have 3 minutes.
I believe I'm entitled to 10 minutes.
When we were at that item, we passed that item.
I would like to request the 10 minutes since there was inappropriate passing of this and vote without the public comment.
That's not correct. That's not what happened. The item came up on the agenda. The board called for public comment. There was not any written request for public comment at the time. The board's taken the vote. Madam Chair, at this point, we could start the timer and give Dr. Morrell her 3 minutes if she's willing to take it. If she's not willing to take it, we can move on to the next person who would like to address the board during citizen input. I'm not taking comments from the community. I'm addressing my comments to the chair.
Also, I had requested and I received no response about a video clip that I wanted to share. May I share that video?
Madam Chair, would you like me to start the clock or, okay.
Start the clock. You have 3 minutes.
Age appropriateness, that's what I'm here to talk about. For me, this is not a question about transgenderism or sexual identity or any of that. I know that's how the opposition wants to frame it. It's easier to dismiss a legitimate argument if you can paint the person who presents it as some kind of extremist. But for the record, how people self-identify and what a family chooses to teach their kids about right and wrong is totally up to them. That is one of the benefits of living in this country, that people can live however they like it and think is best, and that's a good thing. However, parents are not in schools with their children. So as parents, we put faith in our school system and expect the school will not only educate our children at the right age-appropriate level, but also protect them from content that is too mature for them, especially during their formative years. The books I've challenged are not appropriate for kids without parental guidance. That is it. That's why I've challenged them. If parents want to check them out for their kids at the community library, I have no objection. But here at school, where parents are not around to supervise content of certain books, they should be off limits until the kids are mature enough to benefit from them. Every reasonable parent feels this to some degree. I doubt that there's a parent here who would think it would be okay to have erotica available to young kids at school, right? I'm not saying that any of these books we've discussed have crossed that line yet, but I am saying that there is a spectrum. What's inappropriate for one parent may be okay for another. That's why we have statutory criteria that govern what's acceptable in schools. And if we feel that those statutes are too restrictive or go too far, we have means to change them democratically. What's happening here today is not democratic. Over the past few weeks, you've heard several district representatives say that they personally disagree with these statutes, that they personally treat the statutes rather as guidelines instead of limiting criteria. They are blatantly subverting their democratic process. And why? Because of their personal biases, not mine. They're flouting the law because they disagree with it. There is a term for this: unlawful ideological indoctrination. But they are so steeped in it they refuse to see it for what it is. My position has always been we follow the state standards for what is acceptable, period. I don't aim to impose my will on others any more than to say we should do that which is lawful. Let me provide what these state statutes say concerning selection of library materials for age appropriateness. Each district school board is mandated to establish procedures for developing library media center collections. These procedures should be guided by reader interest, support of state academic standards, align curriculum, and the academic needs of students and faculty. In addressing this book, first, the circulation data reveals zero reader interest in this text. Second, discussion and instruction on gender identity before the 9th grade is a violation of state academic standards and aligned curriculum. And lastly, since discussing the content of the book is prohibited within school premises, it fails to address the academic needs of student and faculty. Taken together, it is evident that this book is inappropriate for the K-5 environment.
Thank you. All right, Ms. J, if you want to come on, I don't have you come right on.
Hello, my name is Jane Spear, and thank you for allowing me to say a few words this evening. First, I want to say that I have great respect for the beliefs of the previous speakers this evening, and I think that the system, our system, has set up a way for them to make sure that their children do not access the information that they don't want them to access. The Parental Rights and Education Act protects all parents, and that includes me, and parents who do not want to remove books from from the libraries in school. We are not talking about books that are used in the classroom as supplemental to the curriculum or part of the curriculum. I believe that while I respect their beliefs, I hope that they respect my beliefs. And I hope that you all, the board, will support our media specialists and their education and their knowledge, and keep the best interests of all children in the school system at the forefront of your minds.
Madam Chair, before you start my time, I just wanted some clarity on something. I was trying to communicate that with Mr. Delaney, but I don't know what that was all about. But I was trying to explain to him is that there was confusion back here about what you all were on. And it was we thought you were still talking about the book. And when you were talking about the book, I was signed up for it. And I said, no, but apparently you had already moved on. So that's what I was getting clarity on. So I didn't know why there was, the little performative gesture there from Mr. Delaney, but I don't know what that was all about. I appreciate that, but I was talking about what we were still on. Anyway, I'll move on since I want to be staying in order. But since we're on citizen, yes, ma'am.
What he was trying to do was keep order, because as he was talking to Ms. Morrell, you were kind of interfering. And so that's what he was trying to do, just keep a little order. But you're welcome to have 3 minutes at this time.
Understood. Okay. So citizen input, correct?
Yes.
Before we start, we're on citizen input, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. What I would like to take the 3 minutes for citizen input. Could I get my time back, please? I want to talk about going back to what the status of our schools and how we are here to perform. I remember growing up in school, it was a time kids are having to grow up quicker now than they ever have, not just with what they're being taught in academia. I don't recall school shootings on a almost intermittent basis daily, being taught lockdown drills, all these kind of things. And people could say, well, we had Columbine. Yes, we did. Were school shootings around? They were not as pervasive as they are today. So kids growing up is not just from what's in books, but there's also materials that we were taught in school. Was it age appropriate? Probably not. Probably not. However, what's even more important is that we get back to what we're failing at, the basics of children being able to read, children being able to write, children being able to understand code, teachers teaching coding and understanding coding. Because how many teachers had ninth graders that could not tell you the continents or the oceans? But we're worried about this and that. I'm worried about the quality of education. And I think that we're arguing up here. I'm just seeing a cognitive dissonance sometimes, Madam Chair, that just seems to permeate. And it just seems to be a race toward mediocrity. We're talking about, we're doing great, and we signed up this percentage. What are we exactly cheerleading? So when some of us don't do well, none of us are doing well. When I was in the military, it was one team, one fight. I don't see that. I see it's you here, you're in your turf, and you're in your camp, and I'm going to have my little town here, and that's my fiefdom. So when children, poor white children, and poor blacks, poor everybody, regardless of your socioeconomics, are reading at a 19% level, it's not something we should be cheering. We have nearly 98% of black children not on grade level, 1st to 5th grade. What are we cheering for? Well, we have supposedly, Madam Chair, turnaround schools that are supposed to be turnaround, but the person leading that turnaround doesn't really have a record of that turnaround. What are we cheering for? And when we have county commissioners that are coming to our schools and saying, we see them looking like Ukraine and a Russian war battlefield. It looks bad. And we're not looking at what we need to cut and maintain and being efficient with our budget. What are we cheering for? What has changed? Still my question, what changed?
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Now we're on to,
I speak?
yes, 3 minutes with the board.
Hello, folks. Through the course of these book challenges, it's become constantly voiced, there's been a constantly voiced mantra that a parent can always restrict their child's access to any given text. This sounds really good in theory, but in practice, it doesn't work. As a matter of fact, it's completely the opposite. It loses all its veracity. It becomes, may I say it, a lie. Now, in my life, I've said an awful lot of things that later on I found out weren't true. I didn't do it intentionally. It wasn't an intentional lie, but I had to eat crow and say, I was wrong, I made a mistake. I never intended to tell a lie. There was no maliciousness in it, but I lied nonetheless. That's what this is when it says a parent can always restrict their child's access. But before I get into that kind of statement, I'd like to point out one thing that parents should not have to contend with the texts that are in violation of the law. A parent should not have to be contending with books that are illegal. And the state law in Florida tells you what's illegal. You want to contend with books? Fine, let them be legal first. This is not something that parents should have to fight about to get illegal books removed from the shelves, and yet the library is full of them. So first of all, if a parent wants to limit their child's exposure to specific content that has conversations about pornography, neither the librarian nor the parent can easily discern which titles contain this material. What that means is you say, yeah, you can restrict the title. Fine. Do I have to read every book in the library to know which ones have the content? If I say I want this kind of content or this genre of content restricted, there's no mechanism for it. It can't be done. So without reading every single book in the library. Secondly, if a title is flagged by a parent, this flagging only occurs at checkout. That means that the children are released and have full access in the library for whatever amount of time that is to go pick a book off the shelf. They can read anything they want while they're in there, and it's never challenged until they get to checkout. So they can pick up any rotten book, any dirty book, any filthy book, anything they want, read it, and then go to checkout and say, oh, your mom said you can't have that. So there's no stopping the children from having access to this. And third, there's nothing preventing the media specialist from selecting anything in the library and reading it to the children, regardless of the parental instructions. A parent can say, I don't want that taken out. The media specialist can pick it up and read it anyway. There's nothing restraining that. So finally, parents face a significant barrier in knowing what their children's selection is, and that is because it's restricted class information. The parents aren't allowed to know what the kids are picking out of the library. They're not allowed to know these things, especially in kindergarten.
Thank you
by
so
first
much.
grade, yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're not welcome.
You like to speak? 3 minutes with the board.
Hi, my name is Olivia Haley. I'm a resident of Alachua County, and I just want to say that I am the reason why The Sun and Her Flowers, or whatever it's titled exactly, is taken off shelves and under review. The contents of the book are really graphic, including figures 3 and 4. It shows a woman masturbating, and it also shows another woman performing oral sex. So sorry to say those kind of words here, but that's the nitty-gritty of it. That's what's that's what is accessible into the public libraries. If you want to teach and show how women masturbate and how women perform oral sex,
Let's direct our comments here.
you know, I mean, then go ahead, I guess, teach it, but that's a little bit odd, and that's just like the basic details of these books. Another book that I submitted a book challenge request for was the same content, but for men. So that's what's in the public libraries. That's what's being shown and accessible to high school kids. If that's accessing anyone's limit to the right of education, because parents don't want that shown to their kids, then let me know how that limits someone's access to the right of education. And parents have absolute right to control what their kids learn. It is their kids. They're not kids of the state. They're not kids of the school board. They belong to their families. The material is disgusting, And the fact that we even have to discuss this today says a lot about society and how low we've gotten in education, and in public education in particular. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wants 3 minutes with the board? Hearing none, we will move on to board member superintendent request. Dr. Rockwell.
I'm going to ask a few questions of our attorney because I want to clear up some misinformation. Mr. Delaney, can a media specialist read any book aloud to a class of students?
That would be considered instruction, and therefore that would trigger a lot of the statutes that we've been talking about. But having a book on the shelf available to students with the guidance of their parents is in a different category and is not triggered by those statutes.
Is it true that the state in their own legal documentation indicated that books available in the media center are not subject to the same level of scrutiny as books used for instruction?
Correct. In legal briefs and arguments to the court in challenges regarding the statute, the state specifically took the position that if there's not instruction involved, if there's not a teacher involved, and just selection of a book individually by a student is in a different category and not covered by the statute.
And additionally, just to clarify, has this board voted to remove any books?
Not. I'm going to defer to Ms. Siegel on that.
No. The current procedure, if a book is to be removed, will come before you. The books that have been removed were under an old procedure that did not permit made the review final at the school or district level. So now any book that the district agrees should be removed will come directly to you at the board for a determination as to whether to accept that recommendation and take public comment and keep the book.
And the book that was mentioned this evening has been removed temporarily pending review. Is that correct?
The book by the last lady that spoke?
Yeah.
Yes, that review has not taken place yet.
Okay, and so just to clarify for everyone in the audience or listening, that is not the book that the board voted on tonight.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rockwell. Ms. Certain.
Thank you. I wanted to bring an item to us as a board. Monday, I was going to say on Tuesday, yesterday's Children's Trust meeting, you have heard us talk about the literacy initiative that the trust has brought forward, as well as we've had that in joint meetings with other governmental agencies. And so as part of the literacy initiative, community literacy initiative, since our reading scores do need to improve, it was proposed or floated when we all had the federal money that everyone contribute. The city, at the county, Children's Trust, and the school board money towards that initiative. And in yesterday's meeting, they asked myself and Mr. Andrew about the district contributing money to that, $60,000 to that, and the county would contribute as well as the trust. And so Executive Director Kiner wanted to know, and as well as the board, we can't vote on that now, but if that's something that we as a board would contribute to, funds to them doing a needs assessment, partnering with the UF Lassinger Center to do a needs assessment on where we are with literacy, resources, gaps, needs, and things of that nature. So just want to open that up and we talk about that, and so that we can give our superintendent direction as to how he can communicate with Ms. Kiner.
And she did reach out to me as chair this past week. That was going to be something you all were going to be discussing.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday.
Yesterday. Ms. Abbott.
I don't think we need to pay $60,000 to know where we are, where the gaps are, or what the issues are. We already know what they are. We just need to do something about them.
Thank you. Okay, and the other request?
Oh, no, I did have I just have one other thing I'd like to say. As in our, we've had in 2018, November 2018, the voters so graciously heard the needs of the district and the plea from, I think it was Citizens for Strong Schools, as well as the district, and approved the half-cent sales tax. And the district started, the county, this tax was assessed, and the district has been receiving those funds since January of 2019, or that's when the first started assessing. So it's been 5 years. We have 38 school sites, and there are a lot of needs. That's one reason why when the district staff, as well as the community organizations that were working to convince voters or ask voters to support the sales tax, they told us that it would be a 12-year assessment and that there are a lot of needs, and we would just have to systematically try to address those needs. And I too was approached by a fellow county commissioner about the state of Lincoln, and we've had other schools, people say things about that. But I'm just asking for the patience. It takes time to get around to all of the projects, and we've done rebuilt Howard Bishop, Metcalf, and Idlewild, and Westwood is well underway. We had a change order on tonight's agenda. Littlewood is on deck. I mean, it's a lot to get to, along with regular reoccurring maintenance. So it's not that we don't think any learning environment is worthy of improvement. We know that facilities and having high quality spaces contributes to positive learning experiences. And I'm just asking that we kind of bear with the process of us trying to work our way through the capital needs of our county buildings.
Thank you. And I have a request. Ms. Green, we need to look at, as we talked about, the follow-up on the evaluation tool for the superintendent. We need to schedule a workshop so that we can have that discussion. We're supposed to put a meeting together to know, and I do have some sample ones I need to get over to you for the evaluation tool for him. Any other requests? Dr. Rockwell, okay, your light's still on. All right, if there is no other requests for anything, this meeting is adjourned at 7:28. Thank you all.